I love seeing small businesses succeed, and I believe that success is a journey, not a destination. Think of this podcast as your weekly dose of inspiration, empowerment, and actionable insights. We're all about turning your one-day dream into a right-now dream. If you're ready to create the life you have always wanted, you're in the right place. Let's discover your unique talents and forge your path to success. It's not just about chasing goals, it's about embracing the journey and building a life that you love. Each week, I'll bring you conversations with experts on marketing, business, and a plethora of other topics that align with who you want to become. Whether you're an entrepreneur, creative, or simply someone on a mission, my goal is to provide you with the tools, stories, and a mindset shift to help you thrive. Buckle up, get ready to dig deep. Let's turn those dreams into gold. This is the Aurum Collective Podcast. You guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited for our conversation today. It is something that can feel really overwhelming to a business owner who is wearing all the hats and is marketing and SEO. Our guest today is a pro in every way. I cannot wait for you to learn from her. Elizabeth Nelson is the visionary behind Snowmad Digital, an SEO agency with a passion for helping venues thrive. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here, and hopefully I can impart some wisdom, or some of your readers can take a little nugget away from this and be able to incorporate it into their marketing and SEO plan.
I know they will be. So would you tell us just a bit about you and what you do?
Sure, I definitely can. I'm Elizabeth. I live in Teton Valley, Idaho, and my business is Snowmad Digital. In addition to owning Snowmad Digital, I've also been a wildland firefighter, a structure firefighter, and EMT in recent years. Decided to kind of go all in with Snowmad Digital after COVID, and I've had a really big emphasis on wedding venues, and not only just doing SEO, but really focusing on everything that wedding venues need. So you need, a website that is beautiful and is SEO optimized. You need Google Ads, brochures, graphics, logos, branding, social media support. So kind of we're more of a digital agency. Right now, there's 4 of us on our team, and we try to only focus on just working with niche wedding venues that kind of want to work with one point of contact, and we don't work with competitors. Meaning, if you're a venue in Colorado Springs, if someone else reaches out to us from Colorado Springs, we're not going to take them on as a client during our time together. So I think that's maybe what sets us apart a little bit from other digital marketing agencies.
Yes, for sure. I love that aspect of your business. I think that's an amazing quality and just shows that you're in it for your clients, not just to make as much money as possible. We say that a lot, even with our weddings, that we're not just here to turn out weddings. We really want to be there for our clients. And so that shows in who you are. So I appreciate that. I think that's amazing.
Loyalty is everything.
Yes, truly. I agree. Well, let's dive in. Can you give us kind of a 1,000-foot flyover of why SEO is important for a wedding venue?
I definitely can. I mean, anyone that's listening to this, you might be implementing SEO, you might not be implementing SEO, but at the end of the day, you need people to come to you, whether that's through a directory like the Knot and Wedding Wire. You need them to come to your website. And typically the way you get people to your website is through social media, press releases, Google Ads, Facebook, Meta, TikTok, and SEO. Over the years that I've been doing SEO, and I've been working with wedding venues for 6 years, 7 years. And so what I've seen in that time is that when we go and compare who filled out the website form and who turned into a tour, who then turned into a contract, what I've seen is that after referrals, which your business just can't rely on referrals. It'd be nice if it could though, right? Is that SEO is the best way to get ROI. So meaning testing different types of ad strategies. We do see a good ROI on other things like Google Ads, Meta, TikTok, but SEO is just the best. And so that's why I find it to be very important for wedding venues. And another thing is that because SEO is so difficult and cumbersome, you can do kind of basic SEO and update little things on your website here and there. But if you're in a really highly competitive market, that's not going to give you a competitive edge. So that is why it's important for wedding venues. If it's something that you want to invest in, it will bring really high quality leads to your website, especially if you're in a market where you're working with corporate folks, working folks that are already using Google, are already using search engines to do a lot of their job. They're going to be using that same thing to be searching for their wedding venue. And when they find your website and they're spending all this time on your website, reading through you, learning about you, you have their full undivided attention, as opposed to being on social media. They might be distracted, or they might, not be, ready to be served an ad, or in a directory. You guys know the Knot and Wedding Wire, they fill out a little form. I'd love some more information. And then it shows them 500 million other wedding venues. And so you don't have their undivided attention. So the why of that is because it gives you high quality leads. You have their full undivided attention. And if you do a really good job at SEO, you can show at the top of Google and other search engines for some really good long tail keyword queries, like if you're all inclusive, or a private estate, or a ranch, or an indoor wedding venue. You can make sure that you're driving really highly targeted leads to your website that are a little bit lower in the funnel. They're searching for what you have to offer, as opposed to on Meta and TikTok. You can't really target by keywords. You're targeting by a geo area, and you're saying, hey, this person's interested in the Knot or Wedding Wire, or they're engaged or in a relationship. There's just not as many targeting options. And there is a little bit more of an option to target that through doing SEO and making sure that the content on your website is reflective of what they're searching for. It's the greatest way to get undivided attention traffic to your website that's down in the funnel and kind of ready to make a purchase or start taking tours.
That's huge. It's easy to get caught up in all of the things you can do for marketing. There's so many avenues, some of them you named, that it can feel like, oh my gosh, I have to do all of them. This is a really good conversation of focusing in on one that's going to give you really quality leads. Because we have realized, like, once you have a quality lead and they're in your door, like, they're gonna book. Like, it's your job then to just get that home run to get them to sign the contract. It's really just getting that quality lead. And I love that this hones it in on something that we can focus on instead of seeing the plethora of options out there.
I love that you pointed that out, because, SEO, and we might talk about this later, but SEO is not like an end all be all. If your pricing is off, if your market position is off, if you don't have the right message, if you don't give good tours, then the SEO doesn't really matter, because even if you are driving those qualified leads to your website, once you bring them to your website, you then need to nurture them, of course, and give them the tour. So this isn't like a fix everything. I've had some venues reach out to me, and they only close about 5 to 10% of their tours, which was astonishing to me. And sometimes I'll tell a client, hey, maybe we need to focus on our value proposition and some other things first before we look at driving all this traffic to the website that's looking for what you have to offer. Because there's really no point in having all those leads if at the end of the day, if it doesn't turn into a signed contract.
Exactly. Yeah. It's lots of puzzle pieces to get them to that point, but this is a really good place to start and make sure you're getting a quality person in the door. And then we talk about that stuff down the road. I agree, though. There's so many elements to making sure that your lead is going to sign that contract at the end of the day. Well, what is the first thing you would tell a new venue owner to do in order to optimize their SEO strategy?
Oh, that's a loaded question.
I'm sure it is.
Honestly, I have all these things I could tell you about your titles and your metas and stuff, but I want to break it down and try to make it really simple, because before you even look into deciding if you're going to do SEO, the most important thing that you need to look at is how good of a job is everyone else doing around you that's a wedding venue that's doing SEO. It's kind of hard for me to explain like how you could look at that. You could go to websites like maybe Uber Suggest, or if you want to pay for Ahrefs or SEMrush. But if you go and take a look and analyze your competitors, that will help you understand, is this something that's going to be like low-hanging fruit for me? Is this something that's going to take a lot to build up to? So that's the first step in your SEO strategy, is what are your competitors doing? Because at the end of the day, if they're all doing a really great job, they have a high domain authority, they've crossed all their T's and dotted all their I's with their SEO strategy, it's going to take you a lot longer to do that. And so if you can identify that, it's going to help you kind of fashion out the rest of your plan. Because if you think about it, a lot of people just know SEO is like, okay, I go to Google, I type in a search query, and then all these results come up, right? You've got paid ads, you've got directory listings, you've got local map pack, which is where venues can like absolutely shine. And then you've got SERPs, which is like the title and the description. You've got images and all these different places. And so what you need to do first is find out, if you use a tool like Uber Suggest, what keywords are my competitors ranking for? how many backlinks do they have to their website? A backlink means another website linking to your website. And look at all these variables, and maybe you hire an SEO just to do this one step for you, and then take that to optimize your SEO strategy. But to give you kind of a short list of some things that you could do, if even if you just skip that step and you just want to kind of play around, the first thing is you want to make sure that you have lots of content on your homepage, because your homepage is where Google goes to read who you are, where you are, and what you do. So that means wedding venue, if you want to use long tail keywords like all inclusive or outdoor, ranch, private estate, that fits to you. Make sure that that's in the very first part of your website with an image. And then the other thing I want to talk about is a lot of people think of SEO as just being on their website, but there's actually two different principles of SEO. There's on-page SEO and there's off-page SEO. On-page SEO is everything that takes place on your website. Off-page SEO are things that take place, of course, off of your website. And one thing that's really overlooked is your Google business profile. When people are doing those searches, or they're using Siri or any of those voice searches, or they're just doing long tail keywords and they're looking in a specific region, they're looking for a downtown Colorado Springs wedding venue. Sure, there might be some of the big players that have some ads. A lot of people will just scroll right past the ads. It's a psychology thing, and some people don't. But typically after that is where the maps results show. And so optimizing your Google business profile by posting updates, just like you would on social media, making sure you complete the profile. Did you add all your social media profiles? Did you add your hours? Did you add if you're LGBT friendly? Are you women led? Making sure that you answer your Q&A section on there, adding your services, locations. And then the last thing that you can do to optimize your profile, if you geotag and have at least 100 photos on your Google business profile that are the same 100 photos that are on your website, that really helps Google. And so there's a lot of geotagging services out there. And what that simply means is you go onto a paid service like GeoImgr, IMGR, and you can go in there and all you do is type in your business location, assuming you have a Google business profile. And that will add that meta tag to all of your photos. And so when you have those photos uploaded, it shows Google the location too. And so that helps. That's just kind of like a little insider trick. It is something that really helps, and it is something that just about anyone can do. And then as far as your on page, in addition to having plenty of content on your homepage and making sure you address the who you are and the where you are and the what you do in your what's called above the fold content, which means it's the very first thing you see when you get to the website on a phone or on a desktop, you can make sure that you have really good web hosting. Now, you can't choose your web host unless you're on WordPress. And so that makes it a little tricky for some folks that are on Showit or Squarespace that are listening to this, or maybe Wix. And so don't be discouraged if that's the case. This is just, if you're in a very competitive area, you really need to make sure that you're pulling all your tools out and having everything that you can do from a tech SEO standpoint to make sure that your website is ranking. And so a common error that I see a lot of people doing, that's a very simple fix, is if they're on WordPress, they're using a cheap provider like GoDaddy. And when your website loads slower, Google takes that into consideration with your site speed, and they will not want to rank your website because they consider that to be a bad user experience. Analyze your competitors, and that's going to help you decide how deep do I need to go and how much do I need to invest in that. And that's how you can determine what next steps you need to take as far as technical SEO and on-page SEO and off-page SEO and backlink strategy and your Google business profile and all these different things that you need to take into consideration.
That's great content, and that's also easily applicable in some ways. Like I've heard someone explain the Google stuff as like feeding a gumball machine. Like you need to feed the monster, like feed the gumball machine and the gumball machine will give you gumballs. Like if you're not feeding it, it's not going to do anything. Like some of the things that you said are like kind of like that idea of feeding the gumball machine. You cannot ignore your Google account. We've tried to be like, okay, we're going to respond to all of our reviews. We're going to make sure we're uploading pictures. We're going to be uploading events to Google, just different things that we're making sure we're feeding the monster.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes without saying too, that obviously the longer your business has been around, also impacts your SEO. I have some venues that reach out to me and they're super upset because they're like, hey, why is this venue like they only have 15 reviews and I have 460? Yeah, 5-star versus like a 4.7. And so the other thing that I just also want to quickly say is that you need to have at least a 4.7 or higher on your Google business profile, and also have good reviews on other profiles, because that kind of social aggregator, Yelp and the Knot, Wedding Wire, other platforms where people can go to review, those are also important too. That's all part of the off-page SEO. So it's kind of hard to get reviews as a business owner, especially for wedding venues. It's like pulling teeth to get people to leave a review.
Truly.
But if you haven't had your business around for a very long time, meaning 5 years or less, it will help you, because if there's someone that's ranking above you, but they've had their business around for 10, 15, 25 years, that's automatically going to give them some clout in Google's mind, because Google really values the age of a domain and also the age of a Google business profile.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
Yes.
Do you think it's true that having a perfect 5-star review is better or worse than having, like, we have a 4.9?
Yeah. If you have a 5.0, that's great. But to answer your question, like, does it have to be a perfect 5? No business is perfect. But the main thing is that if you have anything less than a 5, meaning you have someone that left you, maybe, your venue only, and someone left a review about how nasty the catering was and it was cold and the catering staff was so horrible or something like that, go in and reply to the review.
Yes.
If you don't reply to it, that's when it starts getting negative. Google does not expect you to have a perfect 5.0 if you have, a bunch of reviews. You're a business and, mistakes happen. You just need to address that head on, and that will help you not have that seen as a negative from an SEO standpoint in Google.
Yeah, that's super helpful. People are so afraid of bad reviews, and there's so many solutions by responding and being a professional. Are you tired of wading through legal jargon, hoping your company contracts are legally sound? Say goodbye to the stress of what if and hello to Creative Law Shop contracts. We use Creative Law Shop's simple templates for our businesses. They are specifically tailored for creative entrepreneurs. Creative Law Shop provides the legal documents you need to succeed, from client contracts to operating agreements and everything in between. Creative Law Shop has what you are looking for. Don't let legal worries hold you back from turning your one-day dream into a right-now dream. Head over to shopcreativelaw.com. Enter code Aurum10 at checkout for 10% off. That's shopcreativelaw.com, code AURUM10 for 10% off. Do you have some simple tactics that would help a business owner that is wearing all the hats to be able to manage their SEO well?
Yes. I think the first I would say is don't ever do RAM, random acts of marketing. If you're just kind of doing a little this and a little that, and you don't really have a strategy in place, it's not really going to be impactful, right? So if you're wearing all the hats and you want to be able to manage your SEO, I just want to reemphasize that it does depend on how competitive your market is. I know a lot of people are really seeing a pinch where the venue market is getting more competitive. More venues are opening up. There's more competition. There's a lot more market saturation. So if you are in a lower competitive market and you've done your research, definitely optimizing your Google business profile is the way to go. If you're the type of person that wants to take it a step further and you don't mind paying a little bit for a software, I have a good friend who also works in the wedding industry. Her name is Taylor, and she has a software that she just launched called Angie. And it's really great for the type of person that wears all the hats and kind of wants to DIY.
Yeah.
What I like about it is you just answer a few questions and it gives you little marketing homework assignments and like a social media calendar. I just think it's a really cool tool. I don't make any money or have like a referral or anything, but I do think that that's a good option if you are the person that absolutely wants to be doing this on your own and wearing all the hats. But otherwise, just making sure that your Google business profile is completely dialed, completely optimized. One other thing that you can do is you can add what's called a schema to your website. And if you have no idea what that means and you're listening to this, fear not. You can go to ChatGPT and say, I want to generate a schema for my website. And it will say, cool, tell me the information. And so you'll give it your business name, your phone number, your website, and some other details. And all you have to do is paste it into the header of your website, which again, if you think that that's above your pay grade, I promise if you're on Squarespace or WordPress, you can just Google how to add code to the header of your website.
Yes.
And it's really easy. Google Business, adding a schema, those are the two things. And if you just want to have something that keeps you in check a little bit, maybe consider having a software like Ng or something else akin to that kind of gives you little homework assignments and gives you a way to make sure that you're not just randomly doing social media over here or randomly writing a Google blog post thinking it's going to like get you to the top of Google or something.
Totally. And then you have a course as well, correct? You're going to name all your friends who do cool things, but you have a course as well. So
I do. I do have a course. Yes. So I would call it simple, but it's kind of like an intro. I've tried to price it in a way that anyone could afford it, but it's a way to kind of look at all the ways to optimize your Google business profile, an intro to setting up your own Google ads. I have resources for press releases on there. I have email and text campaigns and copy and stuff like that. So that's all in there. Yes. And it is available.
Well, for what it's worth, we bought your course and my husband thinks it is worth every penny. So
oh, good. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, on that note, when do you recommend outsourcing to someone else?
Honestly, if you are the type of person that views SEO as an investment, as soon as you can. I guess also to tie into that is SEO has a very bad rap, right? So I have a lot of people that reach out to me that have been just absolutely scorned by SEO marketing companies. I don't need to name anyone at all, but some people reach out to me and they've spent a lot of money. They've spent $5,000-$10,000 to do SEO or to do Google ads, and I go take a look at their website and it's like, what? And so I think a lot of people will take advantage of the fact that the average business owner doesn't really know enough about SEO to be able to know that they're getting results. And so I guess when I say if you are going to outsource to someone, make sure that that person has referrals, make sure that they're reputable, just make sure they have a really good track record. Definitely don't hire someone on Fiverr. I would also say try to avoid hiring overseas because what I see a lot of the time is people will try to hire someone in either Pakistan or India, and you have someone that maybe doesn't have English as their first language trying to write your blog post for you or doing really shady black hat SEO tactics, which black hat means a good way to describe that is like white hat SEO is when you're doing things that Google says is good for SEO, and black hat is when you're trying to cheat and kind of cut corners and do things. And what happens is when you do black SEO is when you have updates come out like Panda and other Google updates. You see websites tank. So like this March, we saw the March core update come out and like millions of websites got wiped off the internet, lost half or all of their website traffic because they were doing really shady things. Yeah. So I recommend outsourcing to someone else as soon as you can afford to.
I'm listening to you talk going, I don't have time as running a venue. I don't have time to think about the new updates that are coming out that are going to wipe out my website. So that I feel like is when you have to start thinking like, okay, I need somebody who is going to be able to keep a pulse on what's happening in this market, in this realm of marketing, and is going to be able to do that for me and do it well. So we have seen that is the first thing that we needed help with was our marketing and SEO.
I'm more positioning this to just be like totally realistic because I know a lot of companies will come to you and just like sell you the moon and the stars. And I've seen a lot of venues get disappointed and then they're out thousands of dollars.
Props to you and how you run your business too, because I think that speaks volumes to people. I mean, I can't tell you how many emails I delete a week of people reaching out to me being like, you're SEO, we found you on Google, we saw this and yada, 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 we can do this for you. And it's like, delete.
Hello, sir/madam, comma.
Yes, I'm like, who are you? I don't think this is going to help me. But I'm so trained to just delete everything. And so I love when you were saying before of like, when you're going to hire somebody who you know is reputable, who has references. There's so many ways to find that too. You work with one of my good friends. I've seen you in Weave. There's associations where you can start to meet the right people who are going to actually help your business that will make spending those dollars so worth it. It's not just throwing it down the drain.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I guess it's funny, like you mentioned, like getting those emails. That's probably one of the most frustrating parts of my job is I'll have a client that forwards one of those to me and is this true? Is this wrong on my website? Or are my Google ads really performing this poorly?
Just ignore. Well, other than reading those emails and thinking that they're true, can you tell us the biggest mistake you see business owners making when it comes to their marketing and SEO?
100%. I've already covered a lot of this, but I'll
Yeah.
say it again. Random acts of marketing.
Yes.
So if you think you can just go into your website and like aimlessly write a blog and add a keyword, like one or two keywords, probably not going to help you. If you think that just adding a couple little keywords across different places in your website is going to make you at the top of page one on Google, probably not going to help. Especially with the advent of AI, you can't just do these little things that you used to be able to do 10, 15 years ago with SEO and have your website rank top on Google. Like you can't just do random little things of SEO here and there and think that it's going to like surge you to the top of Google for this. I already talked about hiring freelancers on Fiverr, spelling and grammar that doesn't reflect the professional tone that your brand should exude in all ways. I've seen people do, a lot of spammy things that will just like destroy your website eventually. That might work well for a little bit, but then you're going to see it tank.
Yeah.
And then probably the other thing that I see people do a lot is using ChatGPT or buying like an AI writer like Frasier. I've always used AI to guide all the different aspects of SEO. And so if you're not using AI, to at least guide,
Right.
if you just slap something in ChatGPT and put it on your website, not going to fly.
Right.
But if you're not using AI at the same time, you're probably missing out on all these different things you need to be adding to your blogs, because with the March core update, Google is really trying to get rid of gibberish AI generated content. And I get that. And so if you're differentiating your blogs and your content by adding things that actually take effort.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, like if you're just using some AI generator to write your content and you're just copying and pasting it to a website, probably not going to rank.
Yeah.
So if you're over relying on AI, not good. But if you're not using it at all, also not good. You have to find that good meat in the middle. It can help you write and it can supplement your writing and maybe help you look for sources and info and statistics to back up your writing.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure that content is not easily able to be duplicated, because otherwise Google's just going to look at that and be like, okay, it's AI generated and there's 500 other blogs on this topic. Why should I rank that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. I am a guilty party of writing blog posts that are like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just like writing. But I've had one that went like, it ranks better than brides.com. It's 20 questions to ask your venue before you book. And it just like ranks super high. And it was a complete accident. I truly have no idea what I did that makes it rank so high. And it's great. It's like a great lead, but it's funny because I'm like, well, I couldn't replicate it because I truly have no idea what I did. So I think that's such good advice of having somebody who can look at the things where like that, like I did something right once, but how can I recreate it? Like, let's have a plan, a marketing plan, not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping some of it sticks.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, questions to ask your venue, that's a really good one. And that might be arguably be something, it depends on how you look at it. But, some people might want to focus on driving traffic to their website that are looking for style type of venues or, geolocation. So like Colorado Springs wedding venues or downtown wedding venues or indoor wedding venues. And so when you also start, it can actually benefit your website when you are ranking for some of those outlying topics that are related to the venue search, like questions to ask the venue, in addition to like these like hardcore geo and SEO blogs. That is in turn helping my all around SEO. Write about insights that you've seen or mistakes people take, and people will link back to that content.
Yep.
And it will support your SEO effort overall, because when Google sees that other websites are linking back to you, it's kind of like a credit score, like a popularity contest, right?
Totally.
And so that helps your overall website credit score, basically, to have more websites that are linking back and saying, yeah, this content is good and I'm going to reference it in my content on my website.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. One thing that you've kept referencing is knowing if your market is competitive or not. Is there a good way, and maybe you already sort of pointed to this, but could you tell us a little bit how you can tell how competitive your market is in the SEO realm and if it is best to bring someone in?
So earlier, I don't personally like this tool because I'm kind of like a snobby SEO when it comes to this, but it is free. And I think that's beneficial to anyone listening to this. There is a tool called Uber Suggest, and you can go in. There's also SpyFu. And what you can do is you can go in. And so step one is like start looking for keywords that are related to your business. So style keywords in a geolocation area is like a long tail keyword, right? So if I go to Google and I type in indoor wedding venues near Colorado Springs,
Yeah.
you need to start by putting together what keywords you'd want to rank for, and then find out what venues are ranking for those keywords. And then you can put those venues websites into tools like SpyFu, which it does cost a little bit, or Uber Suggest. I like to use Ahrefs and SEMrush because it's industry standard, but if you don't have $180 to drop per month, Uber Suggest or SpyFu would be amazing. And from there, that's where you can look at how many backlinks do they have. It could give you an idea of their website traffic, but I'm just going to be totally honest. Any of those tools that are trying to estimate your website traffic, that's not actually what your website traffic is. They are taking a conglomerate of the keywords that they think that website should be ranking for, where it's positioned on Google, and they're making an average. Really, the only way that you could know that is if you somehow hacked into their Google Analytics account.
Yeah.
But with that being said, it can give you some insights into like who's bidding on what Google Ads keywords, and what keywords they're ranking for. And so the reverse way you can do this is if you just type Colorado Springs wedding venues and like who pulls up on Google. I won't name anyone, but I know all the ones there.
Yeah.
And go and put their website into these websites and see what keywords they're ranking for. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with keywords, boom, here's the SEO they've already worked on.
Yeah.
Can I outrank them? What will it take for me to outrank them? What kind of an investment is this going to look like with my on-page and off-page and my backlink strategy?
Are you drowning in client tasks? From contracts to communication, keeping up can be overwhelming. But fear not. I'm here to introduce you to HoneyBook, the ultimate solution for managing your business seamlessly. Say goodbye to stress and hello to streamlined workflows. With HoneyBook CRM, handling contracts, payments, and client services has never been easier. Join me and countless others who've discovered the power of efficiency. Ready to take the leap? Head to share.honeybook.com/Aurum and use code Aurum for an incredible 50% off for an entire year. That's right, half off for 12 whole months. Trust me, this is a game changer you won't regret. Visit share.honeybook.com/Aurum and enter the code Aurum, that's AURUM, for your exclusive Aurum offer.
Well, we've talked about so many things, but are there any other things that you think are important for our listeners to know from you, your knowledge, all of your expertise in this area?
Oh gosh. I mean, I could go on all day. I guess I would say that I've had a lot of venues reach out to me that have been struggling or have kind of had just like things not consistently going well for them for the past few years. I know we saw a lot of post-COVID wedding boom, and that kind of slowed down for some people. One thing I would make sure if you're listening to this, even though it doesn't necessarily have to do with SEO, I kind of touched on this earlier, but really make sure that your website speaks to your niche. Make sure you're price shopping your competitors. There's nothing shady about it. Like I see people price shopping my venues all the time. Listen to why people are telling you that they, didn't sign that contract, because the SEO and the marketing is really just one part of this whole equation. And like, you really need to be looking at this as everything that represents me online. Is that representing my target audience? Okay, now I'm going to have the keywords and the SEO strategy and the marketing and Google Ads and everything to drive that there. And then after that, am I making sure that I'm doing everything I can possibly do to make this an easy, no-brainer situation? I've seen a lot of venues I work with go from being venue only to all inclusive because they lost so much business to other venues where people were, I'm busy, I'm a working person, and I don't have time for this. And you need to understand your audience, what's going to benefit them the most. And if they're telling you something over and over, listen to that and take it into account, because you could do the best SEO and marketing in the world, but it doesn't matter if nobody is signing a contract.
Yes, that is so true. You're not only an SEO expert, but you're just like a venue counselor. Like, let's listen to your clients.
And maybe like a psychologist sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. We all need one.
Yeah,
that's why you're in such high demand, Elizabeth.
Too funny.
Well, where can our listeners find you, follow you, learn more about what you do, maybe find your course that you have online, see if you have a wait list for their area? Tell us all the things.
I'm not going to lie, I'm working on this, but I don't really market myself. But of course, I do have a website. It's snowmaddigital.com. I do have the Academy on there. I'm trying to add some like a la carte options too for folks that just need one-off things like an advanced schema or things like that. I am on Instagram, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I have never posted a business post on Instagram. It's just like skydiving and snowboarding. So I'm guilty of that. I have started a newsletter. So if you want to get some little tips and stuff like this to your inbox, you can sign up for that on my website too. I promise not to bombard you with boring, lame things or be super salesy. It's not my style. And of course, I'm on LinkedIn too, which I call my business professional platform because Instagram, I have just not done a good job at turning it into a business Instagram. It's just still my personal page.
That's great. Amazing. Well, we will link to all of the things that you have talked about and so that everyone can find you and your information. I so appreciate your time today and truly so much valuable information. I know it's going to come in so handy, and it's important for us to think about these things and not just push them to the side because we're too busy as business owners with all the hats. So thank you again so much for being here and sharing all your knowledge with our listeners.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel super grateful and humbled to be here, and I'm hoping that at least some of the listeners were able to glean a couple things that they can implement into their marketing strategy.
I know they will. So thank you so much.
I think you just became a better version of you. You finished another episode of the Aurum Collective podcast, and it shows. If you want more, head over to aurumcollective.com for show notes and discount codes from today's episode. If you want to keep the conversation rolling, join our community on Instagram and Facebook. All the details are at aurumcollective.com. Until next time, keep making your one-day dream a right now dream.